Irish guy, and right, Premier League Gameweek 18. Let's see the nuttiness that has unfolded just before Christmas. Just as Santa Claus is kissing goodbye to his wife. I just know she looks like Jonah Hill in a skirt. Right, let's go. West Ham 2, Man United 0. Is he still here? I have said in the title that surely he is going to be sacked. Seriously. I mean, I know it's Christmas time, so it does sound a bit tasteless to be screaming for someone to lose their job, but I'm sorry, he's not exactly a poorly paid electrician from West Cork who has to hide tenors in his sock that he stole from his mum. I mean, Jose Mourinho has been sacked a week before Christmas. Twice by Chelsea and Man United in 2015 and 2018. He had Christmas spoiled for him both times. I mean, you reckon he was in happy spirits when he unwrapped that Lynx Africa box set that his daughter got him? No, he probably felt like slipping poo into her roast potatoes. He probably spent Christmas Day throwing darts at a photo of Paul Pogba. So if Manchester United fans think that Eric should not be sacked due to the kindness of the season, I'm sorry, this isn't the plot of the Family Stone. This is the Premier League. I don't care that it's Christmas. I don't care if that harsh decision means that he'll be sobbing more than usual when being forced to watch Love Actually with his wife. I don't care that it means he'll be so angry to be dumped by Tex that he immediately goes outside and beheads his children's snowman with an axe. I don't care if Ten Hag does morph into the Grinch and just decide to steal presents from his fancy pants neighbours at 1 a.m. in whatever millionaire gated community they live in. Honestly, I'm guessing he's probably neighbours with Liam Gallagher and Simon Cowell. Manchester United are laughably bad right now. That was their 13th defeat of the season. 13? Is that a joke? And lads, play the clip.
West Ham 2, Man United 2. I'm gonna go for a back and forth match. Jared Bowen, Mohamed Kudus, Marcus Rashford. And you know what? I think Anthony will score.
Yeah. I knew Bowen and Kudus would score, but Man United didn't offer a figgy roll. This is utterly revolting. Horrible. Rotten. Manchester United fans trying to digest this result. It must be like trying to swallow your son's Lego castle. Yeah, you'll be pooing out Lego horses for weeks. Every time you sit on the toilet, it'll feel a bit like there's a teenage mosh pit happening in your groin. Lads, this was abysmal yet again. Here we are, Ten Hag, thinking it would be appropriate to completely ditch a 5-time Champions League winner in Rafa Varane in favour of a centre-back pairing of Johnny Evans and Willy Kambwala. Yeah, Ten Hag would be better off throwing his actual Willy on the pitch, just forcing the referee to abandon the game. Because who is this 19-year-old boy? A France under 16 international centre back apparently, but no, I saw him on the bench at Anfield last week and I openly announced on the kickoff I had no idea who he was.
There's people on the bench even for both teams I've never heard of. Kambwala for Man United and James McConnell for Liverpool, so it shows injuries, man.
Lads, it is rare for me never to have heard of a player before they wind up in a Premier League bench, especially for one of the big teams. Listen, Man United have pulled off shock surprises by doing this to me in the past, like when Federico Macheda banged in a sensational last-minute winner against Aston Villa all the way back in 2009. Again, I had never heard of him either. When I saw his name flash up on teletext, I assumed it was one of Anderson's middle names. But Kambwala, pairing an inexperienced teenager with a 40-year-old bloke, it is the most lopsided centre-back partnership going. It's a recipe for disaster. One is too old, one is too young. It's like getting Morgan Freeman to go on a blind date with your 14-year-old niece. And speaking of niece, boy do Man United need Jim Ratcliffe now more than ever. Lads, Evans is a man who has admitted he had considered retiring in the summer. He was preparing for a year of drinking beer in Wetherspoons, sleeping in until noon, popping up on Jackmate's podcast, and filling his fridge with hamburgers. I mean, after living like a square for 20 years, he was probably gearing up for the race to get fat, while Kambwala was probably expecting to spend this year continuing to play against children, or maybe get a loan switch to Royal Antwerp. I don't know, do Man United still do that with their kids? Lads, Evans was literally at Manchester United before Kambwala was born. Imagine going back to 2004 and telling a 16-year-old Evans that yes, he would play for Manchester United one day and would one day strike up a centre-back partnership with someone who at the time was still kicking his mummy's stomach from the inside in France, someone who was still yet to grow fingers and toes, some little alien monster look-alike that was only conceived when his daddy's condom snapped on the bus the previous month. Manchester United lined up for this match with a bunch of kids. Ten Hag was treating this game like a League Cup tie. Yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson once chucked a bunch of youngsters and a homeless man out on the pitch against West Ham 13 years ago. They lost 4-0. And tragically, Evans played that match, being hauled off after an hour for Wes Brown. Listen, great West Ham win, but Ten Hag needs to go. He must be sacked. As soon as I publish this video, he must be gone. He's dreadful. He's a fraud. Ten Hag has to go now. Oh, by the way, lads, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. 188 is the number we want to get to, so if you could hit that button, you'd be an absolute Christmas legend. That's just one present I want of anyone. Because let's be real, I ain't getting nothing off no one else. Nottingham Forest 2, Bournemouth 3. Play the clip.
Nottingham Forest 2, Bournemouth 2. 2-2 draw. Forest will be much improved. Anthony Elanga and Chris Wood will stick them 2-0 up, but the Cherries will rally and score 2 late goals in the final 10 minutes.
Lads, I was seconds away from almost a Christmas miracle. I'm sorry, but Anthony Elanga and Chris Wood had never ever scored in the same match before in their lives. And here I was so close, predicting that not only would they, but that the score would be 2-2 as well. But no, Solanke nets his hat-trick goal in the last minute. Bournemouth win. I was so close. But really, this is the weekend for centre-backs called Willie. Here we had Nuno Espirito Santo in his first match at home. The guy was desperate to start well and get the Forest fans on side. Honestly, a few of them would have had their Christmases ruined seeing Stevie Cooper get the chop, and not just them. I mean, don't they understand that he was also eye candy for their wives? Nah, just kidding. He looks a bit like someone after they spent a weekend with Jeffrey Dahmer. But yeah, Santo sees old Wolves lieutenant, old reliable captain Willie Bolly, send off after 20 minutes. That alone forced poor old Nuno to make 2 immediate subs, having to take off both Orla Mangala and Divock Origi just to protect the shape. Origi, a Champions League winner like him, with a large profile and an ego bigger than Suge Knight's belly. Oh, do yourself a favor, Will. Just keep your hand over your soup when you pass him in the canteen this week. Otherwise, it's going to taste like Belgian snot. Lads, it's so weird. This is a fixture between Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth. 2 teams who everybody predicted will be in a relegation battle, right? Yeah, both Santo and Iriola have worked with some stupidly elite superstars in the past 10 years. Between them, if you just search their WhatsApp contacts on their phones, you'll find the likes of David Villa, N'Golo Kante, Andrea Pirlo, Karim Benzema, Frank Lampard, Fabinho, Iker Casillas, João Cancelo, Ruben Neves, and Harry Kane. Oh, these 2 guys would have a surprisingly sick joint birthday party. Did I just really use the word sick? Lads, they're a bit like those ugly, low-key bookworms in school who are surprisingly childhood mates with Justin Bieber. I mean, one of them goes bowling with Rihanna. The other had their first kiss with Michael Jackson. It's mad. Aston Villa 1, Sheffield United 1. How anticlimactic is this? Can we say that this Aston Villa squad are choking under pressure? Lads, we always just want to see how far the title-chasing underdogs can push it, right? So to see a team like Aston Villa do all the hard work by beating Man City and Arsenal at home, to then just drop points at home to the Blades, the worst team in the league, it feels like such a waste. I remember thinking this exact same thing in January 2016. We were all thrilled to see Leicester doing so well, and then the day after New Year's, newly promoted Bournemouth lead the King Power with a point, just a drab, ugly 0-0 draw. The Cherries even had 10 men for half an hour, and Leicester couldn't capitalise. That meant that the Foxes had failed to score in 3 consecutive Premier League matches. It looked like Claudio Ranieri's boys were choking, as if he just forced a donkey to chew an entire couch. This was Villa's chance to go top of the league. Yes, fully top of the Premier League. All they had to do was just beat a team who'd been a disgrace all season long. You know, the bunch of incompetent fraudsters who'd lost 8-0 at home. In the end, Nicola Zaniolo to score a 97th minute header just to salvage a point. It was Chris Wilder who was probably furious not to leave with a win after Cameron Archer stuck them 1-0 up in the 87th minute. That might have just been the worst moment of Villa's entire year. Seeing Archer, Cameron Archer, that live wire academy prospect, someone who'd been with Aston Villa since 2009, right up until last summer. He was scoring what looked like the winner. Even he looked awkward to celebrate. He is a boyhood Villa fan who was made in their academy, and in that moment, he was ruining their title challenge. This guy is looking like what Ryan Brewster was supposed to be. A hungry young forward desperate to prove his point at Bramall Lane, proving that his previous team were wrong to ruthlessly cash in. Yeah, no, Brewster has turned out to be just a squashed pancake on the bench, but Archer, I'm gonna say it, Villa were wrong to sell. Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1. Play the clip!
Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 1. Let's make a deal. A Christmas deal. If this game does not finish 1-1, then I will squirt an entire Capri Sun in my eye.
I told you! Didn't I tell you? I told you all this would be a 1-1 draw, because guess what? It usually always is between these teams. To me, this seems like the most pointless rivalry out there, because there's never a winner. It's just always 1-1. But yeah, I got it right. Tottenham 2, Everton 1. Play the clip!
Tottenham 2, Everton 1. Ange Ball will dominate the match. They'll have 70% possession. Richarlison will bag 2 goals against the former club.
Yeah, to quote the late DJ Khaled,
another one.
You mean DJ Khaled's not dead? But he looks like he eats pizza in the shower. Lads, Richarlison is on fire. I said he would score both goals in a 2-1 win over Everton. Nah, he only scored 1. But let's put respect on this man's name. For months, he's been seen as a Brazilian joke, a waste of a shirt, a hilarious Tottenham flop, someone who Neymar should be ashamed of having as a friend. But lads, it's now 4 goals in his last 3 league games. Leading the line is Tottenham's number 9. This fella, after a year of injury problems and poor self-esteem, is finally flourishing under Ange Ball. Honestly, Richie, fair play. But you know what this means? I know they played a game less, and they're too busy conquering the planet this week. But But this will mean that Manchester City spend Christmas outside the top 4. No wonder their Christmas party was cancelled. I don't care if they are champions of the world. Do you think any City player is going to feel like dressing up as the Grinch and dancing around a Shakin' Stevens while sipping a vodka orange juice from a shoe and being inappropriate with the receptionist when they are rotting in the Europa League places? Lower in the table than that Aussie manager who was officially on the Manchester City payroll for 3 years, just banished to the west coast of Japan. I mean, you reckon he was ever invited to Man City Christmas parties despite working for the same company? Nah, I mean, if he had just turned up in 2019, the likes of De Bruyne would have just assumed that he was just one of the janitors who were there to fix the toilet that Gabriel Jesus had just barfed in. Honestly, seeing City 5th takes a bit of getting used to. A bit like walking in and your dad dressed up as Susan Boyle. Speaking of City though, Grealish was accused by Fluminense players of winding them up by chanting "Ole" every time his team passed the ball in their 4-0 Club World Cup win, prompting this tweet.
Not once did I say ole.
Yeah, it's ironic a Manchester City footballer has had to write this tweet, because I'd imagine this was the answer most Manchester United fans gave when they were asked who they wanted to replace Mourinho in 2018. Luton 1, Newcastle 0. Garbage. This is sad. Newcastle season is falling apart at the seams. Lads, Andros Townsend was a pundit 2 months ago. Some bloke on the telly who was admitting that he was in tears, literally crying in Vincent Kompany's office because Burnley didn't want him. And yet here he is, scoring the winner against a team who were in the Champions League this season. A team who sold Townsend 8 years ago. The Magpies are in free fall. This reminds me of the last time they had a season in Europe, when their domestic form fell off a cliff 10 years ago. They went from 5th in 2012 to 16th in 2013. Yeah, 1 year into an 8-year contract, and Alan Pardew was nearly getting relegated. What? They were losing 19 league games, conceding 7 at Arsenal, but the big standout moment for me was Newcastle losing the derby to Sunderland. Yeah, guess who the Magpies have in 2 weeks' time? I know they're tired, fatigued, beleaguered, but don't you dare lose in the FA Cup the first week of January. That would ruin Newcastle's entire season, and I guarantee you, even though it would be very unfair, Eddie Howe would have some fans on his back. Some would be screaming for the sack. I know they would. You cannot lose to Sunderland. You just can't. And especially not when they're in the Championship. Honestly, all these signs are very worrying. If Newcastle can lose at Luton, they can lose at Sunderland. With Jude Bellingham star by brother in midfield. Lads, okay, but on Luton, to be fair, I'm going to give them their flowers. Lads, last season, because of their relevance at Nice in France, people lump both Ross Barkley and Aaron Ramsey into the same bracket of finished big name potato. Now, Ramsey might be washed up in the Cardiff treatment room, yes, but Barkley has been fantastic this season. And you know what? He deserves a bigger move in the summer. I'm going to say back to Everton. Take Dele Alli's place in the squad. I know the fans hate him, but lads, Kenny Miller is a striker who was at Rangers in 2001, right? He moves to Wolves and then signs for Celtic and scores a bunch of goals for them in the Champions League. And lads, he still had 2 spells at Rangers after that, and all was forgiven and forgotten. If Rangers fans can do that for an ex-Celtic striker, I think Everton fans can just forgive Barkley for moving to Chelsea 5 years ago. Fulham 0, Burnley 2. Vincent Kompany has finally won another match. This is not a drill. Burnley have turned up to a ground where Fulham won 5-0 twice on the bounce and actually left with a 2-0 win. It is crazy. It's absurd. Although I think we should all be thankful that Joey Barton no longer plays for Burnley, because, I mean, this was the first ever Premier League match that was refereed by a woman. Imagine if Barton was still there and Rebecca Welch tried to send him off. He just wouldn't leave the pitch. He'd be screaming in her face that he'll only go down the tunnel if she cooks him a sausage pie. Honestly, Joey, give it a rest. Liverpool 1, Arsenal 1.
Thanks, Liverpool. Water doesn't stay in the hat, all right?
Result for Arsenal. Last season, that point at Anfield in April seemed like a disaster at the time. But this, I know the Gunners once again chucked away a lead. But no, any Arsenal team escaping Anfield having not lost is always a good result. I thought this was going to be an absolute modern classic. I predicted 4-4. It was 1-1 after Mo Salah cancelled out Gabriel's opener in the first half. But again, just like Liverpool versus Manchester United last week, this was so anticlimactic. Liverpool have now chucked away 4 points in those crunch home matches against Man United and Arsenal, failing to win 2 Premier League games at Anfield on the bounce. It's all a bit meh. Listen, a point for Arsenal has left them top of the league at Christmas. They are the Christmas number 1, and I mean, are they a popular Christmas number 1? Is everyone happy to have them as Christmas number 1? Or are you all gonna go out there and download Rage Against the Machine off Spotify instead? Does anyone get that reference? Honestly, justice for Joe McKelder. Yeah, Liverpool will be disappointed not to have won this match. Trent Alexander-Arnold absolutely rattled the crossbar. This would have been a huge monster statement if they had beaten Arsenal in such dramatic fashion to go top of the league I don't think there'd be any looking back. I think they'd have that monster mentality they had in 2019, where they just didn't let go at first. If you give this Liverpool squad a lead at the top of the Premier League, you are not getting that back. So Arsenal, this was such an important result. Anyway, that's what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? All right, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to give an extra. As always, I'll talk shit a while, but also, Merry Christmas. Yeah. Have a good one. That was weird.